Welcome back to you. That was a loud slap. All right. Good start to the episode.
Synchronization.
All right. It's all good. Welcome back to the... Shit. Is it welcome back or is it... Because for us, it's been like the same day for the past 2 episodes plus this episode. And if we go...
And the 4th episode too.
Yeah, probably if we don't die. And, like,
First 4 episodes filmed on the same day. So.
Yeah. And so, yeah. Welcome back, gang. What do we call them? Like...
Gang?
Gang is low gang for life. No, exactly. We don't want to associate with that.
Well, we're called the Firewatch Podcast.
Firewatch?
We could call it Rangers because it is an actual job, the Firewatch.
Yeah, Rangers is cool. But what if we just rip off Avatar? Flameo Hotman.
Flameo Hotman? What would that be then? Like, welcome back, Flameo Hotman. Nah.
What if it's like, because Flameo Hotman, here's...
because isn't Flameo Hotman...
It's a reading.
But couldn't that be copyrighted because of it is Nickelodeon's property for Avatar?
I mean, if SpongeBob doesn't own Wumbo, then I don't think Nickelodeon should, even though they can and absolutely would if they wanted to, own Flameo Hotman.
But what if they see this?
Well, then we die because they're a corporation. Corporations kill people if they don't want them.
Sound like an anonymous. You see what? Jesus Christ! I can't do this. We're scrapping the whole goddamn thing.
Dude, you're doing good. It was good. It was believable.
It doesn't feel natural.
Okay, Bernie Sanders.
I don't know what to say. I understand, but it doesn't feel natural because I'm gonna be honest with you. We tried filming this intro like 4 times already. By this time, it's completely scripted.
Look at it, the first time it was gold, it was pure, it was solid.
We got interrupted.
But his mom walked and called us out real quick.
And what am I gonna do? Tell my mouth to go away? I can't do that.
We'll die. We're Mexican. We will have a chancla fly around the corner and just there goes one of us. American sniper.
Interesting story actually. One time my mom threw the chancla at me. I caught it midair.
Bro, that is the greatest and worst thing in the world.
Right?
Because you know another one's coming and that one's gonna hit.
That's the thing though. She didn't.
Oh.
I surprised her. She genuinely didn't. She threw the first one. I caught it. And then it stopped. She looked so surprised.
It was the anime moment where it was just
Nani?
Omae wa mou shinderu. Nani?
But for Rizzo, it was like greatest moment, but at the same time I was terrified because she also had the remote in her hand.
Right, that's even harder. It's gonna
instead
of being a slap, it's gonna be a full punch to the...
It's like I was scared that she was going to kill me, bro.
Right.
It was like instant death, but like...
Okay, we're gonna go back to the original topic of this video, but real quick. When did the beating stop hurting?
When did it?
Like, when did you get hit in the ass by your mom or your dad, and it just stopped? Like, you didn't feel it anymore.
Whenever it no longer had an emotional connection, and you weren't hurt by it at like.
I mean, physically fooled Jesus.
No, because I think so. At the first couple times it gets spanked, it hurts a lot more. Because it's coming from your parents.
Right.
And so there's the emotional confusion.
Right, because you're like, Mom, why do you...
Yeah, it's like, why are you hurting me? Right? But Jesus Christ, this got really deep. so right. It's like... So I think at first it has that really emotional connection. And that's why it physically hurts more. Right? It multiplies it or whatever. I don't know. It just adds on to it.
Right, because you're like...
But then once you grow older and you're like, yeah, you okay, you can stop now. Right, it doesn't. I don't know. I think maybe just with age too, getting hit hurts less.
Yeah,
you build up a pain.
Tolerance.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, talking about tolerance, pain, and death, COVID. What the original topic about this video was going to be about talking about.
Did your mom just peel off?
Well, she doesn't drive. My sister does.
Okay.
Burning tire, man.
Right. It's Tokyo Drift.
Anyways. The original
we're cutting down what I just did. We're cutting that right now.
No, we're not.
Yes, please. That was stop. Don't look at me. Look at him.
Anyways, the original topic of this video before it went horribly wrong and horribly off topic, which will happen very often.
As is the nature of two guys talking about random shit.
Random shit or not, we're talking about COVID and the impact it's had on us.
Right.
And on our school district, because the more that time goes on, you get bro?
Keep walking.
Why are you always walking off
camera,
bro? I doubt you're in frame now. What are you gonna do? Squat? Alright.
Yeah, it's better on my back.
Alright.
Starting.
So there's a lot of talk about whether or not we're gonna go back to school and what that's gonna mean, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of students have had very different experiences with online school, and so that's really what this podcast or this episode, not this podcast, not the whole thing, just this episode is gonna be about.
Yeah.
So like, what have been like your experiences with online school?
So basically, it's been different because I'm sure anybody who's a student or has ever been a student, which is most of the population, would know that there's something tactile, something physical about being part of the classroom, where you can reach a side and like slap your best friend in the arm or something like that, or you can raise your hand and be like, hey, yo, teacher, restroom, gotta go.
They're gonna be saying no.
Exactly, they say no, and you're like, okay, cool, walk out anyways, because thug life.
Yeah.
But in class, at home, there's no sensation of that. There's no camaraderie with your friends who are messing around and bullying the teacher till they cry. There's none of that.
Also, I guess it would, for me.
Don't bully your teachers, by the way.
For me, a lot of it has been that there's not really that separation between work and home.
Yeah.
And Jesus Christ, is it really early for someone like our age to be feeling that kind of impact? Because, I mean, what really is online school? My desktop is in my bedroom. So what happens when I wake up for school? I to get to school, I used to wake up pretty early, get ready, and walk to the bus stop, and from there the bus will take us, right? And so that kind of creates this period of transition between home and school,
right,
or home and work. But now there's not, right? Since it's in my bedroom, what do I have to do to get to school? I just roll over, and now I'm out of my bed and onto the other side of my room, and it's been hard to create that separation of work and home.
Right. For me, I miss the commute. I miss waking up, having that nice cold air brush by my face, and I'm walking to the bus stop, get on the bus, yell some random shit at my friends, and just have a good time on the bus, do my thing. And I remember, especially, we would just for me, I was very not popular with people, but I got around.
Yeah,
I knew people.
Yeah.
And so for me, I knew everybody on that bus by name. I knew something about them, something personal about them.
Yeah.
There were people to me, not just a screen. I could talk to them about stuff.
Which for me was completely different. I hated everybody on that bus except for a couple people.
Right.
But I mean, that's just personal, different
buses.
Yeah, different buses. A lot of it was just. Yeah, I still do miss that, that commute that creates that transition between home and school. And I also know that just doing squats over
right. If y'all can see me, don't look.
I don't think they can. I think it cuts off somewhere around.
So I just want my hands gonna do that.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Anyways, what I was saying is I know for some people it can be more hard to learn online because not everybody learns the same way. Dude, really? Are you really?
Trust. Keep talking.
Dude, the podcast is a 2-man group, right?
It's
I feel like I'm just talking by myself.
No, I'm listening. If you say something.
Yeah, but
yeah, crack it back. He just saw some wildness right now.
I'm here alone.
I'm back. All right, I'm done. These chairs are not the comfiest. This is the first day of shooting this podcast, all right?
None of what we're doing right now is comfortable.
Right.
It's hot. There's not a lot of air circulation. We have 3 lights going, 4 if you count the PC. The desk is fine. The chairs are horrible
because they're this much cushioning
Well, yeah,
my back is just like, I'm good, fam. I'm done.
Well, yeah, they're old, and I mean, we haven't paid any money for this setup.
Yeah, this is all just, we want to do it. This was happening. We're going back to the first episode now, aren't we?
Yeah.
COVID, school.
Oh, I was saying, everybody learns differently.
Right.
And like Sebastian was saying, there is that difference. Like there's something more tactile and more real about being physically at school and being able to have that connection with the teacher and with the students.
Right.
And what I'm not really concerned about, because it's really not my problem, and I personally am lucky to not be struggling that much, but I know for some people it could be a lot harder to learn online, to basically be self-taught.
Yeah, no, it's from. I'll talk about myself a little bit real quick.
No, yeah, go for it.
For me, I wasn't diagnosed with dyslexia until I was maybe 13. Mm-hmm. So that was into our 7th and 8th year of middle school. So for all throughout my childhood, I taught myself how to read, and I'm still very much bad at it. I can speak to Alberto, I can speak to everybody, and I have a very good vocabulary. I have a very wide and very pronounced vocabulary. I can get an academic conversation with people.
Yeah.
But when it comes to my writing and my structuring of sentences, it's garbage, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
So I'm very good. So I know what it's like to be self-taught, be alone in a classroom. In my 3rd grade year, I told you I was telling this in the car earlier. I was put into a corner by a racist teacher, and I was there for the whole year. I wasn't able to talk to my classmates. I wasn't able to even look at the board for the lesson. My back was to the board and to the class, and I was alone for the majority of the year.
So what doing online school right now? Would you say that's? Well, I know that like in 3rd grade that must have been like really hard.
Yeah.
Right. But would you say that doing online classes right now would almost bring up memories of that, because you don't really have that connection with everybody else in that classroom?
Yeah, it's kind of for me. I have a few things wrong with me to start off: ADHD, dyslexia, and just a few other things to toss them in to spice things up. You know, God said variety, spicy boy. This one, spicy boy, and so I have a really hard time with focusing on one certain thing and sticking with it for a very long period of time, which is why I will often make Alberto and me just change subjects halfway through talking.
Which has happened quite a bit, as of now.
Yeah. But good content though, you know, spicy boy equal good content.
Yeah, so it's going back to like that separation and like not being really connected to your teacher or your classmates. Dude, I don't know anybody in my classes.
Neither do I. I know one person because I had him last year for one class. Yeah. Didn't say a word to him.
Yeah, it's the same for me. Like in all of my classes, I know sometimes maybe 1 or 2 people, max. I haven't had the opportunity for growth and to meet new people.
Right, which is high school as well. You know,
yeah, like I genuinely don't know what's going on. I don't know what they look like, and that's first.
That's scary. That's kind of scary, you know, because like. It's not scary in the sense that, like, you know, it's horrifying, like, oh my god, I don't know these people. Yeah, but it's in the sense that, like, I will know you this whole year. I will speak to you and I will hear your voice.
And I keep thinking about the first time, if we ever do hybrid learning, what it's going to be like to go back to school and see everybody for the first time, and it's like, oh crap, this is what you look like. And not that that's a bad thing,
but just like,
but it could be like a shock.
Yeah, there's always a shock factor when it comes to doing things or seeing people for the first time after not communicating through a visual media.
Because on the classrooms you have the option to turn your camera off, so everybody does it. Like I'm guilty of it too. Except
teens being teens, me too. We don't want to be seen. We don't want to be like that.
For me, yeah, I'm guilty of it too. Except for one class where I do have the webcam going, but it's still strange even then to think these people know what I look like, but I don't know what they look like.
Yeah.
And in a sense, I guess I'm also thankful that I'm a bit used to that. So it is weird in that setting of a classroom, right?
Yeah.
Because like I've been I don't want to say that I have an online presence and be like, oh, people know me. No, they don't. But I've been online for a while.
Yeah.
I am more or less used to putting myself on the internet for a little bit of time through different platforms and through different pages and channels, and so communicating with someone that I don't really know, it's not that in itself is not the shock, because in those settings it's expected.
Yeah.
Right. If I'm posting on Instagram and right now we're posting these on YouTube, I expect to know very little of the people who are watching these.
Right.
If anybody is. But so it's expected, so it's not much of a shock. But in a school setting, right? In the classroom setting, in that kind of environment, I kind of expect to know everybody in the classroom and to be comfortable talking to them and know a little bit about everybody. And it's odd not knowing anybody, you know?
Yeah. I'm hanging it back to where I was coming from with like the not knowing anybody and being isolated from people at a young age. It's not a negative. It's not for schooling online and not seeing people. It's not a negative thing. It's just that I know I'm not the only one that has a similar situation.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact that it affects people in a way that makes them not want to work. Like with me and my ADHD, when I'm at the desk, just sitting there typing for 2 hours plus, because class is 2 hours now. It's 4x4. It's 4x4 block, and it's just.
Wait, so how's your class? Okay, because we go to different schools. Yeah. So how's your school doing?
My school goes 4x4 block, which is 4 classes, each 2 hours long.
Every day?
Every day.
Okay, so that's different from how we're doing it, right? So, well, I mean, it depends if you have a 0 and a 7th period.
I don't have either of those.
So me either. We're doing. Yeah, it could be four classes every day, but for someone who just has the regular 6 periods every day, it's three classes every day. So Mondays and Tuesdays is 3 classes each, and Wednesday will be all of our classes. And then Thursday and Friday will be 3 classes each day. So, is that the same way your school is doing it or different? Because you're saying four classes every day, right?
4 classes every day is the 4 classes we have is the 4 periods that we have the whole year. So I have first period I have English. Second period I have APEC, which is what we used to learn with an Kaiser, which is just like credit recovery and credit gaining if you want to. If you want to take it while you're ahead of credits and finish school early, you do that class. Then I have trigonometry, and then I have band. And it's 2 hours in each of those classes every day, with the exception of Wednesday, which is a 15-minute check-in period, with the rest of the day being asynchronous learning, which is like the asynchronous learning. And all that is just by itself, it's different because I'm used to the 45 minutes each class, go through the day, go through the motions, have some fun.
So yeah, basically I also agree with that it's been different staying in classes for longer than the time that we're used to. It also makes me wonder about how much kids are paying attention, their attention span, like you said you had ADHD or something.
Right.
So it makes me wonder how much information they're absorbing, if they are, and also if they even care. Because like a big thing, you can't help someone who doesn't want to be helped.
Right.
So, I mean, to each his own. If they don't care about it, they don't care about it. There's not a whole lot that can be done. But it also, there's also the schools that might be opening up and start doing some form of hybrid learning. Like my teacher said that, my English teacher said that maybe Orange County would start opening up schools and the other smaller districts would see how that progresses and make their decision if they want to also open their schools based on their progress.
I think the only way that a majority of the schools would open, or all schools would open again, it's a hybrid learning is if LA County School District went back into hybrid or even full learning, because a lot of what our school does or what our district does is follow their lead because they are the biggest school board and unit in the country. LA County has the most schools per capita in the whole of the country.
Is that a fact?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to doubt. I just don't know.
Oh no, I get you. It's always good to fact check. Even you who are listening, fact check as much as possible.
I'll fact check right now.
All right, cool.
Is LA County the biggest,
largest school
district? Let's just start with California. It is the largest in terms of number of students in California and the second largest public school district in the United States. Yeah. So close.
Yeah. I mean, it's largest number. I think it's overall though. It's like one. It's either first, second, or third, and the largest. In the U.S. Because keep in mind, California is one of the most densely populated, especially in LA, is one of the most densely populated places in the U.S.
Well, Google just told us. Like I said, I'm not trying to go against you, but so definitely in California, it is the largest school district.
Yeah.
And it would, the decisions that LA County makes would make a bigger impact on like what the other districts around at least the state would decide to do.
Yeah.
I've also been wondering if the schools are actually losing money because students are not there physically, and maybe the attendance is a lot lower. And
I would think so.
I would think so too. So if they're losing money, is that the reason why they are pushing so hard to reopen the schools?
Right.
And if so, I believe if the schools reopen anytime soon, at least before January, that there's going to be another big spike
in coronavirus cases.
And yes, because everybody knows what's happening with all the colleges that have been reopening, all the different parties that they have been holding.
Florida.
And Texas, just to name two. And
if you want to get like really into it, Wisconsin, Kenosha, or up in the north, real far north of America, with the riots that have been going on, they have increased in the spike of corona cases, you know? Because I think Kenosha was in a state of emergency or in writing for like 82 to 83 days. And their case number went up significantly because there's another spike, because, you know, that's social interaction of people being around each other.
I also want that also makes me wonder what political party is going to try to use that to their advantage.
I'd imagine both.
I'd imagine maybe it's possible because everybody has been talking about how all the different protests and riots, how that could increase the number in COVID cases. I think that if I can make a bold statement, I think that the Republican Party would actually use that the hardest in any type of argument, because they...
Feel free to say
this is getting... Okay,
feel free.
Because I believe that that's where they're going to try to get their argument, put it across, because a lot of the people that are making these bigger protests, like, for example, here in LA, identify as liberal.
Yeah.
Left.
Do you identify as left or liberal? Because, like, I'll be honest with you, I identify as more conservative and more Republican. That's just how I was brought as a child.
Yeah, more on the traditional side.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very open-minded to everything that happens. I am advocate for gay lives matter and black lives do matter. But overall, I am more conservative and traditional than I am liberal.
At least when it comes to like policies and rules and politics.
Yeah.
Which is not bad at all. I feel like, oh my god, I feel like today, because I do view myself as being more left.
Yeah. Which is completely fine. Me and him respect each other because, you know, we've been friends for a long time. Yeah. And we know each other as people. Yeah, because I mean, like, I just don't get it how divided that the nation has become due to political parties. It feels like almost feels like if you say, "Oh, I'm on the right,"
that the left will automatically
attack you. Like they'll
yes,
verbally or physically.
Yes, potentially, but more, maybe even worse, just not validate your opinion.
Exactly, which is arguably worse than being attacked because
like if you come across somebody who is like verbally attacking you on the streets, like okay, you're a jerk.
You're a child, basically.
Yeah.
You know? If you have to resort to that, then you're a child.
But if it gets to the point where people start ignoring your opinions and not validating your opinions based on your views, then I believe that it starts to close down in communication and in growth because nobody's listening to each other.
Exactly. There's no growth happening.
Because to have growth, you need to have conversation, and I think to have growth, you need to have controversy. You need to have something that is stirring the pot.
Exactly.
To mix everything and to make things happen.
But more importantly, you need to be able to have good conversation with each other and with your family and with people who you don't always agree with, and not resort to name calling and cheap tactics,
which is what we're seeing today.
Exactly.
And honestly, I have never been more ashamed
to be an American
than I have recently. Because of that, like if we are putting such a negative view
on each other
and who we are to the rest of the world.
Exactly.
Yes, dude, I'll say it. Most of Americans are stupid pieces of trash.
Exactly.
That's just how it is. Disrespectful. I've heard so many stories of like Americans traveling abroad and just not knowing how to shut up and be respectful to other people's cultures and whatnot. But I don't know, man. It's just people don't want to listen to each other.
Exactly. Which, I mean, to be a tourist, okay, we'll cover this another time. I don't think this is a topic for this video, but we'll definitely go back to that. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
The self-plug. Yeah, though. Let's take what happened with the presidential debate. Yeah. Shit show.
Personally, I didn't watch it, so
I'm
just okay.
It was like watching two grown adult babies yell at each other, liberal, conservative. Your kid buys drugs, you're not a good president.
Which, by the way, dude, I saw that clip of Trump bringing that up.
Yeah, I was like, I'm a conservative. That's a low blow. You don't like.
And not even that. It like, what does it matter?
Exactly.
It's genuinely. It does not matter if Biden's son was a drug addict or
exactly.
Whatever.
It can happen to anybody.
It can happen to anybody, and it does happen to anybody. And so many people, I believe, have been able to successfully recover from that and leave that life of them behind. Yes, there are so many more cases where it ruins their life, but I think people ignore the cases where people have been able to recover.
Because people ignore the positive and focus on the negative. That's a human thing.
Because the negative is it's just more captivating.
Exactly. It's hardwired in our brains from evolutionary standpoint to be more aware of the negative and the dangerous.
Well, yeah, and it makes sense because like if you're aware of the bad stuff, you can stay alive for longer because you're aware of the negative stuff.
The human brain looks for bad things to do or bad things to like
that are happening to look out for them. But bringing it back to the whole lack of communication and comprehension and right versus left, I think it's interesting, and I'm gonna go really out there.
Good. I'm all for it.
Parts of me believe that the extreme leftists are a lot more close-minded than people believe.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of it comes from there's this great lyric from Metallica that says something to the lines of, and I'm just paraphrasing, like you could do what you want to do just as long as you do it my way.
Exactly.
Or something like that.
That is right on the nose with it.
And people on the left will praise themselves for being so open-minded.
Yeah.
So open-minded and so do whatever you want. I don't care.
Right.
But then the moment. All right. So we're back.
Food.
Yeah, we got interrupted. Our food came. So you're just gonna have to deal with it. Sorry, not sorry.
Right. I don't know if advocacy their videos. Wait, am I allowed to say that? It's our podcast, I can say what I want. It's all jokes.
Nothing on this podcast should be taken too seriously.
Right. Keep in mind, we're two 17-year-old kids just having a good time, alright? If we make jokes, we make jokes.
But we will try to be mindful.
Exactly.
Anyways, what I was saying actually was about how the left, I believe, is not as open-minded and liberal as they claim to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like you can see a lot of that. Now, here's the thing. It's a very fine line that's very hard to stay on and not fall off of. Reasons being, yes, you could take it to extremes and say pedophiles. No. There's no room to be open-minded about it and lower the age of consent, which I believe, take it with salt. I believe there was some form of law that was passed recently or was taken into consideration that would do something to that effect, or make it harder to convict people of rape, specifically around minors. I'll have to look into that for a future episode. That's actually a really good future episode.
Yeah.
Point being, yes, we understand that there's things that are extremes, which there's not a whole lot of room to be open-minded about. For example, taking away the rights of the LGBTQ community.
Well, LGBTQ plus
community.
Right.
No, their rights should not be taken away.
They're all humans. They have the right to do what they want with their body as they please. But at the same time, they should not force what they believe onto other people.
Which is where I was kind of going to.
Yeah.
There was this anecdote of James Hetfield, lead singer of Metallica, in a podcast that he did with Joe Rogan. Yeah, the podcast that he did with Joe Rogan. He was a guest, and basically he was saying how he felt.
I'll be right back. I need to blow my nose real quick.
Go for it. Basically, he was saying, just close the door. Basically, he was saying how he didn't feel welcomed by the community that he lived in, which at the time he lived in California, because he liked to go hunting, right? And I don't know about you, but vegans and extreme liberals, they're not the most happy about that kind of thing. So whenever he killed a deer and he couldn't really bring it up to his family and his home, and just in the back of his pickup truck, because I mean, face it, that's just the society that we live in today. If you do that and just roll down Santa Monica Boulevard, for example, right, with a dead deer in your pickup truck that you're just bringing back down from the wilderness after hunting, you're gonna get so many views. Not views like internet views, like looks from people. You're gonna get looks. You're gonna get judgment, whether or not it is said out loud. That is just the type of place we live in, which is a super judgmental place, and it's really unfortunate that a lot of that type of judgment, right, and stuff like that is coming from the left.
I'm back.
Yep. Yeah, I was just telling them about for example, hunting. Right? You that over here, you can't come up here, right, and shoot a deer, kill it, right. Bring it down in your pickup truck and but drive by for example, Santa Monica Avenue, and just have a dead deer in your trunk, because you will get judgment, you will get views from the left, from the people that consider themselves to be open-minded and liberal. Because
are you pro hunting?
Huh?
Are you pro hunting also, or?
Huh?
Are you pro hunting, or?
Yeah, I'm pro hunting.
Right, because. Alright, I'll talk about that after you're done with your point.
Well, I mean, I was pretty much done. I was just recapping for you, so you.
Got it. Cool.
Yeah, I'm pro hunting because I believe it's a more humane way to do it.
Rather, yeah. In my honest to God opinion, whatever God you believe in or lack thereof, the way we get food now, quite frankly disgusting, even though good, delicious, not gonna lie, I'm hungry. I would much rather than, force feeding chickens with hoses and tubes to make them fat, to have my own way to hunt and provide for my own food,
Mm-hmm.
When I get older, I do plan on leaving the state. So, to have that better access to where, I'm not sure, but somewhere different from California, because as much as I love my state, it is too constricting for those who are not of the same mentality.
Mm-hmm. Going on by that same token, I, for a while, have had the idea of leaving and having my own livestock.
Mm-hmm.
Because then I will know that it was ethically sourced because it was sourced by me.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have the guts to kill an animal? I don't know. I've never done it. But I mean...
It's not easy. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, I know it's not easy, but at least I know that it was treated with much more respect and love than the animals that were treated in general by the food industry or livestock industry,
right.
meat industry, whatever you want to call it.
Look at it. Squeezing that trigger and sending that bullet hurts. It hurts your soul a little bit.
Have you been hunting?
I have.
You want to tell us about it?
Maybe another podcast. We're kind of running short on time for this one. But for sure, I'll tell you guys about it. Hunting is a very strange and beautiful thing, in my opinion. You are, at the same time you're taking a life from an animal, you are providing for yourself and probably your family. Because a lot of people who hunt do not get their food traditionally. And if they do get their food traditionally, they get it from sources that they know have been proven to be ethical and humane as possible for animals.
Well, I think you can make the argument that hunting is the traditional way
of
getting your food. And the way that we have it set up right now through food industries and the meat industry and all that is not the traditional.
Yeah,
That's a very distanced, fabricated way of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But for whatever reason, I believe like these same leftist liberals will be they will be praising the fact that they love animals, the fact that how much they care about them, and like, oh, animals have rights too, which yes, they do.
And then walk down to McDonald's.
And then they walk down to like, hey, and yes, they walk down to McDonald's, and we do too. Like we're guilty of
exactly.
it. We're guilty of it.
Food right there. This is all.
Yeah, we're guilty of it, but I think it's the lack of awareness, self-awareness.
Right.
They'll say how much they love animals and how much they respect them, and they should have rights, and yes, they do have rights.
Mm-hmm.
But when they find out that someone does hunting or raises their own livestock, I feel like a lot of them will lose it
mm-hmm.
and be stupidly judgmental and non-accepting of that lifestyle, and I think it's very unfortunate.
Right.
And the whole hunting thing, that's just one example. I'm sure you could see this in many other places, right? Like, again,
around the world. It's very
around the world. But like, what I was gonna touch on now was religion, right? A lot of leftists will say, "Oh, believe in what you want to believe in, blah 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 blah. It's all cool, right?" But then the moment that they meet someone who is conservative and very traditional and Christian, right? Or Catholic or whatever. But like, let's just say
what may you be?
like that Mormon Christian family, right?
Mm-hmm.
They'll lose it and they'll be like, "Oh, you're trying to force your religion on other people, blah 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 blah. You shouldn't live that lifestyle, whatever." It's
right.
like, bro, just like, yeah, the person believes in God and they have their whole heart in it. Let it be, as long as they're not taking it to the extreme and hurting other people.
Exactly. Or forcefully, or unmade people who are unwilling, listen and go through what your teachings are.
Mm-hmm.
As a Catholic, I don't want to attend. I'm not. Okay, this is tricky round. I have attended other churches of different religions to as an observer, not as a believer, as an observer to view, compare, and contrast.
Yeah, just to broaden your views.
Exactly.
Just to learn. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that.
And that's great. I'm all for that. I've had friends of the family, friends in my family, and friends of my family come to me and tell me, "Don't do that. It's a sin. You're not doing the right thing." And as a devout Catholic, I say no. Knowledge is not a sin, even though it's the original sin if you look at the Bible. It's not a sin to know about other things.
And then, they'll bring the whole argument that it's a sin because they'll believe that you're worshiping or that you're not acknowledging a false god.
Exactly.
And whatever. Maybe that's an episode right there. Maybe we'll get into that topic in the future day. Maybe we'll get into that topic on a future day.
For sure.
Lesson, moral of the story, we're too divided and we need to do something about it.
I believe live and let live is the idea that Americans should adopt.
As long as you're not hurting anyone.
Exactly.
Physically or emotionally.
Exactly.
Which, yes, there's a very fine line, but I think we can find it and stay on it.
All right. And as always, we still don't know what to call them, do we?
Nah.
All right. Hey, yo, fam squad.
Peace.